Yeah. So Red is live once again. Good afternoon, good morning, good night, good day, good whatever time of the day you are, wherever you're looking from. Because we have people from all over the world locked in. Last night we had people from yesterday, we had people from all in the UK logging in and commenting and making nice contributions to the live. So far, everything looking good. Let me just make sure my panel is down, everything inside, the audio ready, bam, 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 bam. Good evening again, ladies and gentlemen. It's now 5 p.m. in the wonderful, beautiful Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, and we're here with episode number 3. Listen, I enjoy this thing. I enjoy
Well,
this
I
thing.
know. I
Hello.
normally say
Hello.
blessed day to all.
Why this man talking and I'm introducing it? What really going on? You see listen when you have a certain kind of caliber and achievement about yourself, you say, all right, like you want me to mute him. Like you understand? But nah, I gotta do that. My partner, I love him too bad. That's my partner. So let me just jump to them quick and I'll come back to some stuff. So we have a couple real interesting guests this evening. And if you look at the flyer we posted yesterday, I said 2 generations, 2 industries, but 1 mindset, business. Because at the end of the day, these fellas are all about business. Just hearing one telling the next one that he don't encourage people to get a job, he encourages them to get into business. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But I was interested. And he actually preempted the thing because those were some of the things I planned to bring. So I like that. They already in this space. So as usual, we drop it as if you like what you're hearing on Red, give us a like, give us a share it with all your friends, your family, all that kind of stuff, and just make it big. And don't forget to subscribe. And the little bell in the corner, that's it, cling. So every time we go live, you will get some indication of whether it be by your Facebook or email or something telling you, hey, Red is live once again. And so far we've been having a tremendous series. I was actually blown away a little bit by some of the things that were shared over the last couple of days. I learned some stuff. We had, on the first episode, we had Makeup by Chris, Christelle McClatchy. Then we had Nigel Jordan with Twigs Natural. Then yesterday we had Mr. The Voice himself, Adrian, the Voice talent. Very, very, very astute gentleman, very knowledgeable, very polite, very ethical, a real gentleman in more sense, in more ways than one, but a very astute businessman at the same time, very diligent. And today we are being joined by 2 interesting gentlemen. Let me introduce the first one. So this gentleman goes by the name of Mr. Kyron Jeffers, and Kyron is the CEO, owner of a company called Dream Makers Studio Limited, and we're going to hear more about that because Kyron is into film and photography and he's actually produced a short film. He's into documentaries and all that kind of stuff. So Kyron, say hello to the people quick.
Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago, the Caribbean, and the rest of the world. Thank you for having me today. I know for some of you it might be early in the day or in night or whatever, but welcome, and I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, man, that's what we're talking about. So, and on the opposite side, we have, and you'll see when I talk about 2 generations, because you realize Kyron look like he now left school, like he now leave comprehensive and now looking to get a job somewhere. But the man is a businessman. He has some nice clientele, that appreciates his work. So we'll get to that. But on the other side, we have this gentleman who is a bit of a stalwart in his category of business. He's into the construction industry. And we have with us Mr. Samuel George, a gentleman I have grown to admire and respect on a different level, because we're also involved in some other business jointly, which we'll talk about on another occasion. But here we want to talk about his business, Samji Enterprises Limited. Mr. Samuel George, say hello.
I normally say blessed day to all because of the fact that when we speak to people throughout the universe. So instead of saying morning, evening, good day, I say blessed day to all. I have just celebrated my 71st birthday, April gone. So you all will understand how I look at these kind of things. And I have worked, I'm still working for the past 57 years. So when, like, as the young fellow was asking me a while ago about to recommend a profession for one of his friends, I don't advise people to look for jobs because of the fact that what we normally do, we come into this world and we meet what our grandparents would have left for us. And it is our responsibility to leave much more for our grandchildren. When you advise someone to look for a job, at the end of our normal job time is 60 or 65 years, and then you go home and you get a rocking chair and you keep on rocking. So you're moving, but you're not going anywhere.
Rock the boat, baby. Rock the boat,
baby. They normally give you two things at a retirement: a rocking chair or a watch.
True.
So you're rocking and you're watching the time, but you're really ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. Oh my God. And if you're lucky, you get a little plaque with that too. If you're lucky.
I have 4 of my kids involved in business. So you should understand.
Fantastic.
And I have already told my grandson, you don't have to look for no work. You have to decide what he wants to do and start him in business very early. And the only little difficulty I have with him, he was born and is living in the States. So we either on Zoom or on FaceTime.
Yeah.
And the way I love children, I have to love up other people's children instead. So only when he gets down here, I have him for myself.
Yeah, man. You see why I like talking to seniors? The minute you give them a space, they just start offloading nuggets.
Yeah.
Nuggets. And you had to have your head on to catch it. Because they're just pelting it out. They're waiting to find out if you're ready. They're just giving you. It's up to you.
Correct.
You better catch yourself
catch
it and make sense of
for
it.
real.
Yeah. So let me jump into the talk because I like how the things start already. So Kyron Jeffers. Now, let me say it just as I told the other guests in previous episodes. Now, if you find out looking down, it's not that I actually looking down at the screen and my camera is quite up here. So I have to kind of look down to make sure, So not that I'm ignoring you, right? Just to make sure. And then I have YouTube on this side and all that.
I understand that.
Yeah. So, as I told the other folks in the previous episodes, we don't have a 5th amendment scenario in our laws. But if at any point in time I should ask you something that you feel, I don't think I really want to answer that question, feel free to plead the 5th. Feel free, because, and again, I'm saying this every episode so people understand. While I did ask the people for basic information about them, I purposely did not go too deep because I want to be just as surprised as you. So this is not like a typical show where I don't know everything, and for the sake of a show, I'm asking questions where I would get an obvious answer. So the answers that I am going to get might be very surprising even to me. So, gentlemen, feel free to plead the 5th if at any point in time. Good. So let me start with Kyron. I first met Kyron. Let me get a little backstory. I first met Kyron. He was doing some work for an organization. I don't know if I'm allowed to call names. I was trying, you know this thing goes, where they call people's names and whatever. Anyhow, he was doing work for this organization. It's up to him if you want to mention the name or not. And they were doing a project at Queen's Hall, which I was fortunate to be the main production house for my company at the time. And he was doing some other stuff at the side, backstage stuff and that kind of thing. And I'm watching this little half Chinese boy walking around with his little panas on the camera. I say, what you doing? Yeah, with the little mohawk, semi-mohawk kind of cut down. I said, are you looking? But what I took note of is the level of confidence that he was operating with. He was new. He was obviously brand new.
Yeah.
I mean, me and my crew, we could have seen it. But yet still, yeah, green. I mean, when I tell you green, I mean like lime green. You know, but he operated with a kind of posture and a kind of confidence about himself. You know, like I tell you, I'm a musician. And in the band circles, we said, there's a term we use, we say make a confident mistake. In other words, even if you do something wrong, you must know it wrong. But you must be so confident about it, the people looking on must know that you just made a mistake.
Yeah.
And that was, I don't know if he knew that concept, but that's how he was operating. You know, I'm watching some things I say, he had that quite correct yet, but he was so bold and, you know, confident about himself. I took note of that. And then we actually had the opportunity to sit where he and his team, they came up to my studio where we edited the final DVD, and he had some contributions, and, you know, and even at that point, you know, he was speaking with such, you know, some definitive terms like, hey, you know, like he you know, he was sure about himself kind of thing, but not in a cocky, upstartish kind of way. And I was actually impressed with that. And many years later, again, he had a couple opportunities to work with me, and then sometime after, I said, boom, Dreammaker Studio. I said, what the jail is it? Like Kyron, boy? Man winning an award, doing thing with QRC and other institutions and big up. I said, what? Now I was proud. Honestly, I was proud. So Kyron, take us through a little bit of your journey from start, not everything, but from start, how you started in this process.
Well, I think the way I would talk is a way to encourage other young people. So I think what I saw was like a definite understanding of purpose, because I was always very, very passionate about film. I know that I want to make movies. I know that I want to be a director. But I wouldn't say I had the confidence to do that growing up in Trinidad, because when I was growing up, we had one TV station, it was just TTT, and then it switched to TTT and TV6 and AVM, right?
Yeah.
But, okay, and so
you remember AVM?
Yeah.
But you was 15 years, how you remember AVM?
Don't say that now.
All right, go ahead. Your father tell it? All right, go ahead.
No. So,
Yeah.
I mean, so, like, my parents was kind of skeptical, understandably so, because I was looking out for my finances. So they understood that I'm passionate in this area, but they weren't sure to how that would work out. So I kind of took it to an extreme in the sense that I decided to ignore film and try to do something else. But I struggled with the other subjects. I mean, I got good results in English, accounts, literature, that kind of stuff. But it was actually one of my mentors from my church. His name is Dr. Joseph Abraham, and he actually has a company now called Success Training Systems. Back then, it wasn't nothing business related, but I was volunteering in our church and whatnot, and I was by him doing something. And we sat down on his lawn, and he would just ask me questions about my future dreams, aspiration, education, that kind of thing. And he was asking me, okay, who do I want to be? How would I prefer to dress to go to work? All of those things, right? And it kind of came back to the dream of being involved in media, right? And that's when I had the confidence to pursue it at around age 20 something. I think it was 20, 19, 20, flat on, right? So it was then that I realized, listen, if I want to be successful in this field, I can't just be so caught up in like a camera or settings or photography. It has to be true business, all right? And I know Mr. George could understand where I'm coming from there, you know? Yeah. So from there, I took the time, I love the time I volunteered at Freedom House, because it was a great learning opportunity, especially to learn from people older than myself. If I didn't have people older than me in my life to forward to help me understand some things, I would not have grown. And at first I would be like, because I would have my own ideas as a teenager, as a young man and whatnot. But I had to learn, like you said, to sit, to listen and to understand the sense of what somebody older than me is saying, because they mightn't take the time to go through a whole paragraph, right? Because sometimes somebody who's older, they would summarize lessons they learned in 50 years in a few sentences. And it's up to me to catch that and apply that. Right? And really and truly, through that mentorship, through people like Dr. Joseph Abraham, his wife, Teresa, Fitzgerald Melville, Nicole Melville, and a whole bunch of other persons who kind of followed their life into me and positioned themselves to give me advice and me listening and whatnot, I was able to make decisions that started off Dreammaker Studios. and help me become a better business person, to learn the back end, to learn integrity, business integrity, to learn accounts, to get my compliances in order, the behind the scenes details of having good character, honorable relationships, integrity are the foundations of business now. And from that, build a successful business.
Hey, that's what we're talking about, man. Sounding good. Samji, so if I heard you right, did you say that you've been in business 57 years?
I've been working 57 years.
Oh, you're working 57 years. Okay.
Yeah. I've been in business about 40.
All right. Well, this is good. So, what happened between that period? Where did you work? What kind of work did you did? And
Right.
what?
Let me start from the beginning. Let me start from the beginning.
Yeah.
My school days would have been first standard, third standard, fifth standard, and Form 2.
So, what the second standard?
I was too bright for those intermediate classes.
Kyron, you have a good one here, boy. Yeah. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
So what you found at the age of 10, between 10 and 11, I was already in Form 2.
Wow.
The next year, both mother and father became ill. I could not continue working. So I was forced out of school at a tender age of 11, between 11 and 12. And then I got my first job at age 14. When I'm speaking, you always have to relent fully. Either go into the museum to understand what I'm saying. My first job in 1966 was at Bata Shoe Company.
Way.
I started off there as a messenger.
What's Kyron face? Kyron like, where's Bata?
I know what I did. That's why I say you have to go in the museum.
Very good. Yeah.
I worked there from 66 to 77, say 11 years. And then I fired my boss. I bought a car for must have been about $1,500. And in order to buy that car, I had to take 2 loans. Different places to buy the car. I had to go PH. The following year, I bought a taxi because let me give you a piece of history that you can't relate to. My salary in those days was $168 a week. A week. So you can understand, borrowing, having 2 loans to pay on that. And the following year, I would have ended up with three cars. I remember when I bought my Kingswood, it was $23,000. I kept it for 14 months and sold it off for $27,000.
Wow.
You talking about a new brand car, eh?
The businessman kicking
New
in.
brand.
So from that time, I worked taxi for a couple of years. I became the president of North South and General Taxi Driver Association for about 10, 12 years. And then in traveling, a lady was traveling with me a day, and she invited me to come to the Susulan office to look at what they were doing. So in 1985, I became a Susulan director. You could imagine getting a piece of land for less than $5,000 around that time. And then I became the director in charge of housing. Then
You
in
could get- you could-
1991,
So right now, if $5,000 no, you got a piece of land to fit in a barrel. Is it get a price for land? No. That's the only piece of land you can get for
That's the only
$5,000. You go fit in a barrel.
yeah.
Lord.
You can put palm trees in
and,
it
you
and make it.
have,
Yeah.
and you have to move it out. Eh?
Oh, good. Yeah, boy. Interesting. Go ahead. Yeah, man. Go ahead.
And
Continue.
in 1991, the Member of Parliament for Gasperlo, Tabakit, took me to meet a guy by the name of Bill Watson. I was material management. And I was called to do the renovation for the NAR headquarters in 1991. The following year, Pamela Nicholson, Member of Parliament, Tobago, she introduced me to the National Housing Authority. So I started off there as clerk of works, A3. I stayed with them for another 11 years. And during that time, you would have had a lot of engineers coming in. I will tell you something that you'll have to figure it out. An engineer came in with us, and we were doing a piece of job up at Maloney. He took a 4-inch pipe and made a design for us to pour concrete in that 4-inch pipe using 4 bars of 1/2-inch steel. Now, rule of thumb with steel, concrete cover has to be 4 times the thickness of the steel.
Okay.
So I want you to just visualize putting 4 bars of steel in a 4-inch pipe, which is almost impossible already. So what we did with that memo was passed around for everybody to see. Because it was a very dotish decision. Today he is doctor. He has a doctorate in engineering. And I still don't have that.
I hear you.
As I was explaining to Kyron a little bit earlier, during my experiences during construction, I would have trained about 20 or more engineers. Because remember, when you come out of UE, you come out with a book. But you don't know how to put the things together.
Yeah.
So you have to come under me. But you can't use the word internship because I'm not qualified academically like him. But skills and experience, I'm way past him.
Yeah.
And that went on for a while. And then after I came out of NHA, I started my own company, Samji Enterprise, because I was already in charge of housing. I knew a lot about construction. So I opened my own company and started doing construction.
Pause. Coming back to you. Pause. Pause. I'm gonna go back to Kyron for Kyron, right? I don't make sure I point in here. At the point opposite. Kyron, let me go back to Kyron a bit. Pause it, we're coming back to that. You started your own company. We're coming to that. So Kyron, you said that you always had this film was always in your mind.
Yeah.
Film, TV, production, that was always in your mind.
Yeah.
How difficult was it to actually start? Now, you mentioned being involved in Freedom House, and I knew the involvement that and the part they would have played. But at what point did you decide, I'm going out on my own? I'm going to face the bullet. Okay, whatever I had to do, I'm going to make this happen for me. What point at what point did that happen? What could you recall any significant incident or something that happened that triggered that in your mind? Okay, I need to do this?
At that point in time, I always preferred to make decisions by getting advice first. So there was a period of difficulty in my life, right? And I think those in Trinidad who facing the different employment difficulties or what they can understand that. So it was two things combined itself, right? I was studying for a master's program in creative entrepreneurship, right? And around that time, in talking with Dr. Abraham about different things I wanted to do in my heart and what he started a partnership with me, right? So him and his wife partnership with me to launch Dreammaker Studios, right? Because I had the option to try to go completely alone, right? Or to do it with a team, right? So with their help, I launched Dreammaker Studios.
Okay.
But at some point in time, I made a decision to kind of jump, to no longer work for a company full-time and to go into Dreammaker full-time, right? I did that. I decided I would just like jump and grow wings on the way down, right? I mean, the program we have in Curiosity is called Learn to Fly. So that was kind of like, I had to be the first one to try that, right?
Yes.
So yeah, it was in the end of 2015 that I tried freelancing for the first time, and we got our books and whatnot. We launched unofficially in 2018 because we thought I was freelancing. And then we organized it 2018 and we've been trading since then.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I answered your question though. Or if you wanted something more deep.
You did.
Yeah.
So let me jump. I'm coming back to you. I want to bring, because I'm trying to tie in the generational experiences together. So Samji, after doing all that hard work, you started your business. Take us through there.
Right. I started, remember I was always in construction as far back 85.
All right, before you go further, what triggered that? I'm going to ask the same question. What triggered that decision to start your own business? Because I mean, you're working HEC.
Yes, I'll give you an example. What happened? I was a political appointee. And what had happened is that I'd taken a decision a long time before I even went to NHA. I don't want no boss. And I remember that was the time when Robinson used the term moral and spiritual value. And he gave Manning the prime ministership. The minister of housing at the time was Montano. So New Year's Day would have been a holiday. So the next working day would have been the first working day. I have never even seen Mr. Montano, but they terminated me the following day.
Okay.
What they wasn't aware of, you remember, Eric, you remember Muriel?
Yeah.
Right. Muriel was working with us at the time. And the person in charge of accounts came to my office and told me that she had a letter for me and that she'd like to Muriel to be excused from it. I said no, Muriel is my friend, and whatever you have to give me in front of her. So what they did, they gave me my termination letter.
Oh, good. In front of Muriel.
Yeah. But you see, they wasn't aware that I was a PSA member. So I signed the letter without prejudice.
Right.
So the executive director, who was a lawyer, I think it was Lamsey at the time, he said, Samuel, when I see how you signed that, I know I'm in trouble. I went up with a couple $100,000.
Okay.
Yeah. My salary was good. So I stayed home for a year. And then construction in the blood. I started off doing the building for people and then I went into it formally, formed my company, had it registered, VAT registered and everything.
Okay.
And then I started doing buildings. Somewhere around 2010, I was introduced to Kojo Construction. And they took me into Petrotrin Pep when I had the time to work. Recognizing my skills, I was then given subcontracts. And in giving subcontracts, the Petrotrin people recognized my ability. So what would happen around that time? Whenever there's a problem, a concrete problem, I'm a concrete specialist, a concrete problem, they will send for me to solve the problem. Eric, if you call me by you to solve a problem when you're building, who will get a job? And since I'm the one that is getting the job, I know how to price for the job. When I tell you a concrete specialist, I want to explain that to you in a very simple way. Where you are right now, in that building, the hard concrete there is 3,000 psi, 3,000 pounds per square inch. I was allowed to mix up to 9,000 psi on site. It is unheard of. So you understand the level of specialty that I come with. When we were doing the sulfur plant, the concrete had to go to 6,000 psi in 7 days. I'm telling you these things so you'll understand how technical it is. When you're mixing that chemical to do the concrete, you have to have a barrel of ice. Because you cannot mix that with just ordinary water. You have to mix with ice water. And after you put it down, we call pour, shortly after, you have to have a hose wetting it night and day. Because sulfur is a thing will eat you and all. So it's a special kind of a concrete we're dealing with. You hearing me? Are you hearing me, Eric? Are you hearing me? Oh, good. I'm not hearing you.
Oh, sorry. But Mike, yes. Sorry.
Yes,
But I'm here. I'm in school here.
And then, so I became no boss. And let's say in the 3 concrete specialists I had in Petrotrin, I was one of the 3.
Wow.
And I was the one that would have been called whenever there's a problem. Because the senior manager always said that whenever there's a problem and you call Samji, he will give you the solution. Whereas the other contractors, you have to tell them what to do. The supervisors in there will tell the bosses they can't supervise me. Because if a problem arises, can't you supervisor?
Yeah.
If you don't know the work, how you supervise me?
You and my father could have lied. My father had a philosophy. Anybody less qualified than him can be his boss.
No?
He actually walked
that makes
off.
sense.
Yeah, he walked off of jobs like that already because of things like that. He was.
Eric?
Before you go further, let me just give this little story. My father is in St. Lucian. Died about a month ago. God bless him. But he was a police officer in St. Lucia, and at one time he was doing a guard duty, himself and somebody else, and a sergeant came to check them and found this guy sleeping or whatever, and he decided to write him up. But his name was Antoine. So the sergeant, in writing up the diary, spelled his name Antwine. So my father made a comment: if I had joined the work 5 minutes before you could have never be my sergeant. Because Antoine is French, Antoine. Antoine. He spelled it Twine, like twine.
Yeah.
So they took him tribunal. They took him for the tribunal. The sergeant write him up insubordination. How you gonna be talking to me so blah 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 blah. So took him to tribunal. After the sergeant gave his evidence and ting. Mr. Ben, what you have to say for yourself? He said, I will say exactly what I said. I will tell you here now. If I had joined the work 5 minutes before that fella, he could have never been my sergeant. And he gave them the whole story how they spill it. Of course, they dismissed the case and whatever because they realized the father was right. But even that wasn't enough. He resigned the force because of that. Because how you could have people like that supervising me? That was his mentality. So I totally understand.
I remember, Eric, when I was in charge of housing at Susuland, they bought a white fella and put him in charge of me. So no problem. So when I'm doing a building, I will take the drawing and put it on his desk because he's in charge. At a board meeting, he told them in my presence that he knows nothing about what I am doing.
Wow.
So he can't afford to be in charge of me.
At least he was very honest. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
No, so I told him, I cannot train a white man to be my boss. And it created a problem for a while, and then we leveled out.
All right.
Let me continue on my work history, Eric.
Yeah. Hold on, because I know like you could run a show by yourself, you know. hold on. I have to come back to Kyron a little bit because Kyron has some interesting things I wanted to share too, and I don't want to miss it out. Yeah. So, Kyron, how old are you? If you mind sharing that, or you had to plead the fifth? I don't know. How much?
34.
34. Oh, I thought he was going to plead the 50. No. 34. So I was just looking through some of your stuff and I saw you did a documentary. That was the only one, but I see it was labeled as your first. Is that the only one? The Blind Way Forward?
Before that, okay, whatever I would have edited might have been like, let's say for a Christmas show, there was like for a Christmas show for NGO, you might want to talk about somebody's work they did before that. But I don't know professionally if you really want to call that's a more in-house production. But The Blind Way Forward is my first professional documentary.
Okay. Tell us about it now. Tell us about it.
Okay, so it was commissioned by Ipsum Technologies, right? My buddy Sean Melville is the managing director for that company. It was an award to them from the government through the Illumination Challenge, right? So I had to pitch for that, submit a proposal, etc., etc. I had a little bit of help. Again, expertise from somebody much older than me, help me with regards to putting that together and that kind of stuff, right? So when I was brought on as a film producer for that job, I had to handle the budget and deliver the client's needs within budget, on time, choose the team, put together the resources, shoot, edit, and then we also got to do their audio. They wanted to do audio book. So it was those two projects put together that we did.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us about the project.
Right. So that's as far as the production, right? Yeah. After that, now, I always had a vision for The Blind Way Forward to be on TV, and they wanted it to be a certain length. Okay, they actually wanted it to be 40 minutes long, but I advised against that because I was saying the project would get a lot more mileage if you fit it for the proper distribution channel, right? So we cut it down for like 20-something minutes to leave room for ads, right? That was a vision at that time. 3 years later now, TDT picks it up, right? We had some interviews because we did a little exchange of value with them and whatnot. So they played it for a little while based on the license or whatnot that we gave them, and then it stopped, and then it played somewhere else. It played at Gemstone Cinema for the Rollywood Film Festival, won Best Documentary there.
Nice.
And so right now, also played in Carifesta, the Carifesta before Trinidad and Tobago, so that's Carifesta in Barbados, right? I had actually entered it in the local film festival. It wasn't accepted, so I was like, okay, cool, if my people not accepting it, I'll send it out there. And Barbados take it up, right? And then after that, TTT, Rollywood, and that's how it went.
But you just did a valuable lesson there. You tried it here. It was rejected.
Correct.
two things. One, you tried it home first. You give you as they say, charity begins at home. So you give your people, because they would have contributed, your people would have contributed to bring you to where you are. So you say, all right, let me give you first preference. But they blank you.
Yeah,
You didn't give up.
a local festival.
And that is, but this is an important lesson. You didn't give up because of that. Because the world is bigger than Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
And look at what happened now. You went outside, big recognition, you know. So I think there's a lesson here that people need to understand. The world is bigger than just Trinidad and Tobago. That is important. So where was it? Barbados, you said? Barbados.
Barbados.
What was the feedback like? What was the feedback like from the people?
Man, they love it. Like, they love it. Eventually, I got to interface with the film commissioner and the president of the Barbados Film and Video TV Association. They absolutely love the production.
I have seen so many examples like that in Trinidad. Yeah? It's amazing. But that's the next long story by itself. So, Samji,
For real.
let's swing back by the old Sammy here.
While we at let's use the word oil company.
Yeah.
On many occasions, problem arise, and I will make the recommendation as to how to solve the problem. But then remember, I have senior engineers above me
On paper.
that represent the company.
On paper.
On paper. No, in what we used to always say, in petrotrim, you have to fake it till you make it. So I would recommend how to solve a problem.
Probably that's why we get a whole fake oil thing, but that's the next long story. So fake the oil till you make it. But go ahead.
Yeah. So what is to happen is that after I do the recommendation to solve the problem, the engineers would not accept it. And they will bring in this engineer, bring in design engineer, bring in different set of engineers coming in. Everybody come and look at the problem. You remember what they call Mariko? In dance?
Nah.
Oh, okay, Mariko is when your foot together and you just with them sideways when you go.
Oh, okay, right. I know what you're talking about. Okay, see, I
so they come and
something.
They come and they look at it like they dance and they take off. Nobody ain't giving nothing in writing.
Yeah.
They will only give you instruction verbally. If they give you instruction verbally and a problem arises,
They could always say I misunderstood what they said.
I will wait for them. And while they're paying for me and my staff for 4 or 5 days, I'm talking about plenty money, they will then come and write my suggestion in an instruction to me. I want you to understand the fun you will have.
So it's just
doing what I have to do.
That's all. The same thing you tell them to do,
Right.
they now telling you to do that as a written
But in
instruction.
writing. Yes, yes. So what the purpose of that? No, the purpose of that, Eric, is that the bosses higher up will see an instruction sent to me.
Yeah. I understand.
So them figure it out.
Yeah. So unscrupulous.
So the last job I did was in 2017 and there. I got my final payment in the end of 2019. 2 years to get my final payment. And then again back to Muriel, who was with us right from my life. Because Muriel even spoke at my wedding. Muriel and my wife became more friends than Muriel and me. It used to be Muriel, Kyron, Coffee Dollar, and myself.
Yeah.
All over the world. Yeah, all over the place. And then Muriel introduced me to the One Life.
Okay.
And that is where I have been for the past year and a half, 2 years.
All right.
Because of COVID, I have been on total lockdown. Because when you cross 70, you have to bat in your crease. So I don't go hardly anywhere. I go to the pharmacy, to the grocery, and twice to the doctor. But now that the campaign started, I started on the campaign trail. When I recognized that nobody is observing the COVID protocol, I sent a text letting them know why I am off. Because I am not playing with.
Thank you. And you see they found two new cases today.
3.
There's 3. Well, look at that. You understand? And that is the only
And
those that they found there. And
you know the one that beaten me? The one that went into Pennywise.
yes.
So where she come from?
And obviously it wouldn't be Pennywise alone.
No, but where she come from?
I don't know. As much as we could help it, we don't go nowhere. No, we home.
Would you,
go ahead.
would you believe when I listened to the press release today, and they're trying to give me some fancy language? I'm a construction man, I know fancy language. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's something else.
I also wonder.
Go ahead, Sammy. Go ahead.
Tell you that when I joined One Life, Ivan and Michelle will tell you, for 1 year straight, I was involved in every meeting, except one meeting where the political leader wanted me to do the prayers for the big meeting. So of course I had to ask. But I have been the kind of person that is so committed to whatever I am doing.
Yeah.
That I don't have space. And Ivan, I will tell you, I am always early.
Well, you need to clarify that. I'm coming back to you because I know what you're talking about. But remember, people here know who is Ivan, what is One Life, who is all of that. So we'll come back to that because you mentioned it. So you need to clarify that. So let me jump back across. Right, I have to jump back across. I have to make sure I point the right way.
Yes.
Let me come up by Kyron a little bit. So Kyron, how has been what? Give us an idea of your clientele. Let's put it that way. I mean, you're a young businessman, so we don't expect you to have, just massive clientele of billionaires and all that. We don't expect that. I mean, that'll be nice if you do. But just give us an idea, because you haven't been in the business very long. So give us an idea of the kind of clientele that you have.
When I started off, it was like weddings. That's photography and videography. Right now, our most consistent client is detail stores. Right? I really admire Mr. Shazad Bash, who's the operations manager.
Big him up, man.
Yeah, true. He seeks to give young people a lot of opportunities, and it's great working with him. And we've been pushing to produce quality work for them for a few years. I've been their photographer for at least 2 years, and we've also done video productions. We've done all kind of things for them.
Okay.
All kind of things.
Nice, man.
All kind of regular for the fashion shows. Nearly every fashion show we've done work for them in Tobago, all kind of stuff like that. All right. We have some other clients like Power Team TT. They do a John Maxwell event every year. Great people to work with as well. I've done stuff with the Old Board Association in QRC, Roland's Mall, Tobago. Other one-off projects for entrepreneurs, we did something for Radisson, some photography work and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's those who we have the best relationships with and similar values that we could we get continuous work for. And one thing Mr. George mentioned, it took a while to understand how to price my work. That was like one of the biggest struggles to me, how to price my work properly. You understand? And I priced it inaccurately for a very long time.
Yeah.
You understand? So now I believe I have a proper understanding as to how to really price my work, and that made a big difference in terms of our clientele. Because of having a regular work, sustainable work.
Right. Sam, we had to talk about it because I be honest with you, that is something I still struggle with. And I know a great part of it has to do with how you value yourself. How you value yourself, how you value what you're delivering.
Let me give you
Go ahead. Yeah.
when we at Petrotrin, I am termed as a project manager. So an engineer is way below my level. Don't go through the ceiling when I tell you this.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna put my seatbelt there.
Yeah, buckle up. On a weekend, like from Saturday after 12 in the night, when I have to be on the job, I start at $920 an hour. So when I'm home on a Sunday, my rate is 4 something because I'm on standby.
That's what. Oh, good. Hey. That's it. I want Q-tip. Babes, bring a Q-tip for me, please. I ain't hearing good. Nah, man. Jeez, and he's just... How?
Eric, when we
Go ahead, boss.
meet, I'll show it on my phone. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Nice.
$9.20 an hour. It come like $9.20.
Yeah.
So understand the value.
That's it. It's value. You have to understand your value. So,
like,
no, go ahead. I was gonna ask
just
Kyron
recently here, a guy bounced on my brother gay. So when I'm a nephew, he did that kind of work. So we called the nephew to look at the job. I told my brother whatever the nephew charge, multiplied by 2.5 to 3. Because he has to pay the insurance. And you know very well, they will want to cut it down to 50 or 60% of the...
True.
So if you go and charge $10 without having the experience, they cut it down to 5 or 6. But if you charge $25 and they cut it down to 12, you're lost.
You're safe. Yeah. I get you.
Pricing, nothing you have to know.
Yeah. That is a tricky thing. Kyron, have you had any experience where you was almost sure that you are gonna lose this client? You try, you're doing the job, but things probably didn't work out too good. And I wonder if this client will call me back. You ever had moments like that? And you wondered if you'd get called back?
Yeah.
Give me something. You don't have to call names if you want, but just to give us an idea what it was, what went on, that you had to check yourself and you realize, nah, boy, I mess up here, boy. But the client still call you back.
All right. You hearing anything in the background there?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I was told. Go ahead and answer.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Cool. So when I had to check my attitude because I think I was too much into myself, especially when I was younger, because I was more studying about my feelings, my emotions, or somebody might be affecting me. Again, a little bit too emotional with the process now. But those emotional skills help me to be able to design, whether it be graphics or to feel out people, interview them, whatnot. But I kind of get out of myself when it came to business, right? So yeah, that emotional maturity, not to take things personal. So I think when I was younger, early 20s and whatever, because it was in my late 20s that I started, and something I got upset for, and I think I wasn't sure if I would get a call back after that, right? But at the end of the day, it was a learning experience that helped me be able to process what I'm giving out. You understand? And I think working with young people, it was very interesting. Like when I did that thing in QRC, you'd have like their love life, full of joy, full of everything. And that was like a real detoxifying experience. And I learned not to worry and not to be anxious, right? Those kind of adult quote unquote. I'm not going to say adult qualities, that's my qualities, but I kind of work out, you understand?
Yeah.
So I think being more calm and understanding made clients attracted to me a little more, and I don't worry about anything anymore. You understand? You ride the wave, if something work out, it then work out, if it work out, it work out. At the end of the day, I have to do the right thing, the respectful thing, the honorable thing, and know what I can handle up front. One thing that I've made a mistake with in the past is taking on more than I could afford to do. You understand? Not just in terms of, let's say, pricing, but what do I have the time to do, the energy to do, the capacity to do. You understand? So I know better than to take on any job that I feel I can't do.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
I always say
I just take everything.
Yeah, I always say if I can't give 100%, don't take it. Don't take the job. Yeah, don't take the job. Sam, what about
Eric? Let me explain one thing to you, Kyle. I've been in business, let's say, most of my life, and I never had a call card. Let me tell you why. You have to make yourself so good that when people hear about you, I want Kyle.
Yeah.
In building houses, if you call me to do a job, ask me where my office is. I say my office is on the job. And when they come to the job, I show them what I am doing. If you see the walls in my house, it's smooth like glass. We slick the walls after we finish, after the mason finished his job, and we put on the primer. We have a thing called Pittsburgh mud. You put it on a spreader, and then you sandpaper it out, and the walls smooth like glass. So when somebody come and they see that quality of work, that is exactly what they want for the house. Because let me tell you something, concrete is not glass. Concrete is a very ugly thing.
Yeah.
The way you call finishes is what does make a house look nice. Right. People would wait as much as 2 years for me to build a house. And anytime I build a house, I tell you, go in so and so street and look for the nicest house. What I do with the call card?
Your work is your call card. Your work is your call card. I'll be honest with you. I have, when I just started, again, listening to people and whatnot. So it has its good and its bad. So I spend a set of money, call card, flyer, all kind of thing. I had never got, up to now, if I have gotten 2 jobs of a call cards, I get plenty in all my years.
But Eric,
everything is referral. Yeah.
Presently, Eric, if you offer me your call card, I tell you, hold it. I take your name, your phone number, and what you do, and I store it in a particular category on my phone. I don't want no call card either.
Yeah.
Because what happens in the office, you have a nice space to put in call card. I am outside on the job. How I find an Eric number?
Yeah. It's true. It's true. But that next story by itself. Some people find it works for them. Because I usually, when somebody contacts me for a job, I try to find out how you get onto me, where you got my information from, what did you see, who told you, all that kind of stuff. And 9 out of 10 times is a referral.
Yeah, referral.
Somebody saw the work, would have seen the and referred them. So I
do what you do to the best of your ability.
Your work is your call card.
That speaks for itself.
Yeah. All right, so we're winding down. We're at the top of the hour here. We just crossed the hour. So just like I did the other 2 shows, 5 years from now, Kyron, 10 years from now, where do you see Dreammaker Studios?
I see us operating on a virtual platform, being able to add value to others on a global basis, because I want to do 2 things. I want us to be able to help youth to have the next generation fulfill their dreams in film and photography, and I also want to serve the wider community with our business, with film and with production solutions, whether it be script writing, editing, video production, that kind of stuff, on a global level, to be open to the world.
But you think we have the kind of support mechanism in Trinidad that will allow you to do that?
I think COVID forcing us to find solutions for that.
True.
You understand? Because during COVID, I get an email from a particular institution, and all of a sudden, bloop, we have this service available whereby you could receive payments from all over the world, and we're offering it to you. Our customers are like, awesome, wish that happened a few years ago, but say what?
Yeah.
We get in there.
All right.
Yeah, COVID forced us to do that.
Yeah, definitely. Samji, before you answer that same question, you mentioned something that you need to clarify. You call some names Ivan and Michelle and Muriel and One Life.
What has happened is that Muriel was sending me some information about this business. I'm already involved in business. Let's put it this way, I'm a very successful businessman.
Yes.
So I didn't need to be involved in anything else. But because she has been our friend for so much years, I said I will give her the air. It had to do with cryptocurrency. Because of the fact we begin to realize now that is the way the world is going. Because we are listening to even our Prime Minister and other leaders of political party talking about digital. Even the right now, I think it was last month or month before, I had to go and sign up with TT Connect, where I now have a TT ID, which I can take to different government offices to access different information.
Yes.
And what has happened is that in the first 69 years of my life, I really worked for money. But I never understood money. Yeah. You work for money, you're going to spend. And what has happened with the One Academy, it's an online university where you get to learn about money. Because if I ask Eric now in front of you, Kyle, he cannot show me money.
True.
Can you show me money, Mr. Jeffers?
Kyron.
Can you show me money?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Show me money.
I think I understand it. Yeah.
What we deal in is currency.
All right.
And what has happened over the years, they keep on just printing. Like you have a photocopy machine, and they're just printing money. So every time they print $1 billion, my money value keep on going down all the time.
Supply demand.
But the cryptocurrency, which we are involved in, which is the OneCoin, I have had increases in my money over the past 18 months, about 3 times. And my TT dollar went down plenty times. So I know very well that something wrong somewhere.
You saw a couple of weeks, if so long, when they brought the new $100 bill, the Supermarket Association raised prices.
Yeah.
Why? All they did was change the old bill to the new one. So then why raise prices?
Because the value went down.
Yeah. Because the new one came while the old one still existed. So you had more in circulation. But our next story, we go get to that.
The platform that we use this money on, we have access to over 3 million people around the world. So the same way I mentioned a while ago about the person who told you about you can afford to get money from any part of the world. We are on a system, Eric is knowledgeable in it, very knowledgeable in it, where you can afford to do the same. I can stay here and shop any part of the world on our platform.
As a matter of fact, let me put a plug one time. Kyron, I'll send the link for you because this Saturday we have a global expo featuring that exact same platform we have. Right now we have, I think it's about between 60 to 70 countries that will be participating. And of course we are involved. My company is actually producing it. So, a little something from a resume. But take a look at it. You'll be amazed what is available?
Before you look at it,
Yeah.
on December the 8th, I give a boat ride.
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay.
I put up 100 tickets at 1 coin for a ticket. The 100 ticket went in 4 hours.
Yeah. What you face.
You ever hear about a boat ride? Sell 100 tickets in 4 hours?
No.
You're younger than me, you're involved in more boat ride than me.
Yeah.
Right now, I have two vehicles for sale on the platform.
Well, you have 2 for sale, and I bought 2 on the platform,
Yeah.
amongst other things. Yeah. Karen, we go talk. I want to keep it in a certain vein, but we go talk because that's something you need. Because again, there is an element of the business what he's talking about that is I wouldn't say exclusive, but that greatly caters for the business community. And you'll be amazed at what it can do for you. But we'll get to that. We will get back to that because I'll send you some information. Samji.
Right. The final question now.
5 years from now, Samji Enterprises.
5 years from now.
10 years from now, 5 years from now. What
I have done,
you seen?
I have broken what they call the generational curse of poverty. So 5 years from now, all I want is grandchildren, great grandchildren, and health.
Yeah.
Once I have them free,
Yeah.
I don't want nothing else.
I hear you.
Yeah, because the grandchildren and the great grandchildren can now live in that prosperity now that they've broken that curse.
Yeah.
And that's real joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the objective.
All right. 609, ladies and gentlemen. Again, if you are liking what you're hearing, what you're seeing, you like what we're doing on the channel, please like it, please share it, tell somebody, give us a little kudos here and then drop some comments. Not feel free, but rather please subscribe. Make sure you click that bell so you know whenever we go live on the platform. Final words, gentlemen, final words. There's always somebody looking up to you, whether you are aware of it or not. Somebody, because you are at a position that you were not at one time. Therefore, somebody is at the position where you started. So they want to know how we get here. So, final words of advice. So some young entrepreneur. I wanted 2 things. There is somebody who probably into business, but they're struggling. They want to give up. They had some failures, but they don't know how to go beyond that. What would you tell them? And 2, somebody who's considering whether they have a full-time job somewhere or not. Maybe they just left school. They're considering getting into their own business. Final words of advice. Kyron, you first.
All right. So for the one that wants to give up on whatnot, I would say hold your image. Right. That's something I learned recently. Again, it's something Dr. Abraham said, but I believe in it strongly. Hold on to your dream. Hold on to the vision that you have for yourself, for your family, the value you want to create for generations to come. That dream you had as a child, as an adult, whatever it is. Hold the image of that dream and keep working towards it daily. Right? The biggest tree that exists, if you go by it every day and chop it 5 times, eventually it'll fall. All right? So just keep in the game. This is an infinite game. Keep moving forward.
Nicely. Sam, final words.
In my final words, it may take about a minute or 2.
Yeah, sure.
But it's important. I mentioned to Mr. Jeffers earlier that anybody tell me anything about job, I tell them, I say, hey, you're going wrong direction. At the age of 60, 65, you can't pass on your job to none of your children or to your grandchildren.
Yeah.
So you're in the wrong vein. As I told you in the earlies, I was forced out of school at the age of about 12. Between 10 and 12. 32 years later, I went 42, about 42 years later, 2 of my boys were sitting CXC. So what I did, I got a tutor to come home 2 days a week to teach them. And then I was part of the class. And then I would have attended another class on a Saturdays down at WTU. And after 6 months, I got a 2 in English and in math. So you understand how many years I would have left school and I went back in and did it. I don't like certificates. What had happened is that because of the business, I had to do part3 accounting for computer to understand what the accountant doing. I told the lecturer, I don't want no certificate. My wife, she collected the certificate. I saw it that day, and I've never seen it after that. Because I look at a certificate of me coming to you and tell you, Mr. Jeffers, I can now fix phone. So give me a job. I have a problem with jobs. And you see, if we keep on getting the job and looking for the job, we ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Check back. We look at the Jews. How many Jews are looking for a job? Looking for a venue to open a business.
Yeah.
You name the business, they open it. And then what they do, they buy from themselves. All of these little secrets. So we know you, Mr. Jeffers. We have to do anything in photography, we contact you.
Yeah.
We contact Eric. And we keep in the circle.
Oh yeah.
Let me shock you with this one. Name a wholesaler in computers that is not a Muslim.
Very true.
Think it out.
Very true.
I know what people who are selling computer.
Very true.
But
I know what you
putting
mean.
in the sell.
Yeah, nah, very true. Very true.
I might be getting a little old, but I ain't old and
I've
dosage.
observed that quite a while now. No, you're quite right.
And Kyron,
You're quite
when you're referring to people like me, don't use the word old. Use the word mature or well experienced.
I agree.
Yeah.
agree. Because I never touched that word whole night.
All right, gentlemen, I want to ask you to hold the line just a little bit. So, ladies and gentlemen, hey, where's Samji going? But I just cut out on me right here. Hold the line there for me a little bit. So, I just want to say thanks again for taking the time, gentlemen, for taking the time. Sam, your volume was off, but that's all right. Just dropping some final thanks. So I want to say thanks for taking the time to be on the interview. Thanks for the folks who would have logged on and participated in one way or the other. This was an interesting evening. I don't know what happened with Samji device all of a sudden. That was their cue to go home. But that's all right. We had an interesting time. As I said, please share, like the channel, subscribe, and give us some support. We're doing this. It's a lot of work. Limited is a lot of work to do this. Yeah, I love it. It's a passion. Something I always wanted to do. And like Kyron said, some COVID forced us to do things. If you look at episode 1, you realize I told that story because this is something I've been talking about doing for about 4 years. And then COVID locked me down home, and what I started to cloud myself because what excuse I have? What is my excuse? I have the equipment, I have the time, I have the gear, I have the knowledge. Do it, just do it. What's your excuse now? Sometimes we need to move past that point and stop making excuses. In some cases, it's a comfort level thing too. It's very comforting to come home with a check for 5, 6, 7,000 every month. But it's not so comforting 2 weeks in the month that you had to borrow money to go to work and some basic stuff because you just don't have the normal paycheck today can't cut it. You need something else, whether it's a full-fledged business, but you need other streams of income, and that's what this is about. As Sam said, we're not knocking the employment. everybody here talk about it. Even the guests from before, everybody talk about being employed. Some still currently employed somewhere. Some were employed somewhere before, and they made that transition. And of course, everybody didn't transition the same time. Some people may never transition to wholly own a business, but they may still remain with a job plus a business. But if you combine the two together, two is always more than one in any book, any type of maths you work. One could never be more than two. So if you have two streams of income, hey, you understand? And of course, it's not just about the money, it's also about finding a passion and finding something that gives you fulfillment. A lot of people in jobs, working 8, 9, 10, 12 hours a day, but frustrated. I just laugh every time I see these Monday morning memes. You know, people just dreading having to go to work Monday morning. Well, don't go. Find a solution where you don't have to be in that rat race, where you don't have to go, you know, to get up 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock on a Monday morning to go to work. You had a weekend, you lime, you think, whatever. But if you feel to take Monday off and continue, create a scenario where that could happen. But no, we're stuck in that, you know, where we feel we have to be here because this is the only way to get I remember one of my friends one time posted on Facebook, he said, I need a job. And I responded by saying, no, you don't need a job, you need income. And that's different. Because there's this philosophy that tells us the only way you could get income is having a stable job. But if you're not sure that you will have that same job tomorrow, where's the stability in that? Where's the security in that? Because you have no guarantees. You got to create your own guarantees by creating steady employment. But if you are dependent on somebody giving you a paycheck at the end of the week, at the end of the quarter, at the end of the month, there's no guarantee in that, regardless of what certificate you have. I know people with doctorate that get laid off. I know people with master's degree that get let go. You understand? So not even the paper is a guarantee that you will be employed. Look, Sam, she talk about it. You understand? You working, you faithful in the establishment for how much years? You creating some kind of stuff that they know to replace you. They had to get about 4 people, but guess what? They will replace you because the position important, not you. Go ahead, Sam. Sam, you want to say something before we go?
Yeah. What happened when they had replaced me at the Ministry of Housing? From Manning and 9 others took my job.
Wow. Yes. 10 people to do your job. I wasn't so big, but I remember I was an institution.
At the time I was in charge of allocation.
Yeah.
Allocating, right. So you find that Manning too became involved in allocation.
I remember one institution that I used to work at one time, and I eventually left, and I went back to visit them sometime later, and one of the guys was telling me, listen, it's 4 people doing your work now.
Yeah.
4, but you're not indispensable. The position and what you have to do is important. You are not important. Let me look at this. You not important. If you was important, they'd have fight tooth and nail to keep you. Because you have so much value to the company. But if it's so easy to let you go, for whatever reason, whether family thing, whatever the reason, the mere fact that they could find it so easy to let you go means you're not important. So you need to find a way to secure your business. I have a particular chat group, and people will come up with all kinds of discussions and what's going wrong in the country and what happening here and what they need to fix, and I will always come up with one question. Now that you know all of that, what are you willing to do for your own sake and for your family's future? And the conversation
Eric,
usually, yeah.
Eric, let me ask Mr. Jeffers one question.
Go ahead. What you face?
If you had the opportunity, would you fire yourself?
Ha.
No.
So then do your own business.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you. As a matter of fact, I forget this. Let me ask this question that I asked the other people on the other 2 days. If the job that you have or had was paying you so good that you could comfortably live how you want, you could do what you want, you're traveling, you're just good, and everything being done the way you wanted, would you still have gone on to set up your own business?
Yes.
Why?
Because, I mean, personal autonomy, I just think it's my purpose to do this business, and I want to be able to have that freedom to do what I want to do for the benefit of others. Do what I'm made to do, what I'm created to do. I feel like if I'm in a cage.
Yeah.
Yeah, aside from that.
Yeah. Well, I know Sam don't talk about for his grandchildren.
In my case, it's very simple.
Yeah.
I just want to break the generational curse of poverty. That's all.
And you did a fantabulous job of that, Mr.
Eric,
Sam, I must
Eric,
say so.
let me give all you a piece of personal thing. We were so poor. When my mother died, I was sitting at the foot of the bed.
Ooh.
When we went to do the burial, and they put her down in the hole, and they started throwing dirt on top of her, I started to cry. We were so poor, Eric, I didn't even have a kerchief to wipe my hand. And Eric will give you an insight as to my level right now.
That's serious thing. That's serious thing. I'm looking for something here, because today, ladies and gentlemen, and we're closing off with this. But let me just show something here. Today would have marked the 91st birthday of this gentleman. My father, Mr. Eric Ted Ben from St. Lucia, came to Trinidad 50-something years ago. Never went back. And not that he didn't want to go back. He had a philosophy. He said, if for me to go back to St. Lucia, I have to accomplish certain things in this life here.
Yeah.
I can't go back as a failure. Now, because of illness, he was not able to go back. But after some years, he reviewed his whole life, and he said, you know something? I personally didn't accomplish it, but I saw my children accomplish the things that I wanted to. I say, what a legacy. So he felt now ready to go back, but his age deteriorated, caused his body to deteriorate so much he was not able to travel. So he died about a month ago, but a very, very, very astute gentleman, gave us some serious value. So, ladies and gentlemen, I could go on and on and on and on and on and on. So here what? We need to lock it down. We need to lock it down. So this is where we say goodbye on another fine episode. Read the Entrepreneur Series, the Endeavouring Entrepreneurs Business Series. This is episode 3. Look for episode number 4 next week, Monday. And remember, we're running for 3 weeks. So we have 6 more episodes to come. We have some fantastic people lined up. Trust me, you will enjoy the other episodes coming. So, this is it for me, you know. And we saying bye-bye. Right.